Life of Fred, Financial Choices. Chapter 24, Partnerships. Fred continued working on his list of ways to get the $120,000 to start his new business. He had already done win, inherit, marry, and steal. There were 3 left. Get a partner. Founding a university requires a lot of different skills and talents. I can supply my knowledge of teaching and of how a university should be set up. Someone else might have some business knowledge and know about payrolls, business law, and hiring. A third person might have $100,000 and could arrange to borrow the other $20,000. What if we make a partnership? Each could contribute what they have. Each could promise to work as hard as possible. Each could get a third of the profits. Fred talked with a bunch of really elderly people, more than 30 years old, who had been in partnerships. What he learned really surprised him. Most of the time, partnerships don't work. Although they sound warm and friendly, although it feels good to think about my 2 friends and I working toward a common good, the reality is that a great number of partnerships end in fighting, even if your partners are your brother and your sister. A partnership isn't a single entity, except legally speaking. It doesn't have a single mind. If Fred and 2 others form a partnership to found a university, there are 3 people involved, each with his or her own opinions. Fred would want an emphasis on English, math, science, history, etc., the classical academic subjects. Another partner might insist that car repair and hotel management be included in the course offerings. The third might demand that all those majors that end in the word studies be included. Fred would want to keep expenses down by renting cheap strip mall vacancies. Another wants to build impressive buildings to highlight the grandeur of their university. One says, "You gotta have a football team." Fred says, "You gotta be kidding." Another difficulty with collective action is that there is a real incentive not to work hard. If the partnership has 3 people, any extra hour that I work will only put 1/3 of an hour's profit in my pocket. Any hour that I goof off instead of working takes only 1/3 of an hour's profit out of my pocket. When East and West Germany were split up after World War II, the only difference was the collectivist versus free market economies they lived under. After the Berlin Wall fell, the poverty versus wealth between the 2 halves was very apparent. The same is true between North and South Korea. A dog with 3 heads doesn't work. The solution? 1 head. It is Fred's university. He makes the decisions. Of course, he doesn't have all the skills and resources himself to make it all happen. He isn't going to build a computer or teach all the classes or have enough money in his savings. He will buy or rent the computer. He will hire teachers. He will hire the money, known as borrowing. If the teachers were partners with Fred instead of employees, they would have different objectives than just teaching well. If Fred hires someone to teach a course in differential equations for the fall semester, that teacher will concentrate on doing a good job so that he or she will be rehired for the spring. Fred could contract for any service that he would need. Chapter 25, Earn or Borrow. There were only 2 items left on Fred's list of ways to get startup capital for his business. Earn it or borrow it. The other 5 ways, win, inherit, marry, steal, or partner, really don't work reliably. Earn. Right now I make $600 per month. Even if I were to save it all, it would take 200 months to scrape up $120,000. Of course, when I'm 10 years old, I'll be making $1,000 per month. But still, that's going to be almost forever before I can open the doors for my university. Borrow. I read in Professor Eldwood's The Complete Guide to Debtors' Prisons that there are two kinds of debt: good debt and bad debt. He wrote that good debt is borrowing in order to make money. Borrowing to start a business is one of the best debts, assuming that you have done the 5,000 hours of preparation. Fred thought about how Helen was borrowing in order to get a sofa and a fireplace. He had heard that she was going to take a 2-week vacation to Hawaii before she started teaching in the fall. Her credit cards would all be maxed out before classes started. Bad debt. Fred had two obvious difficulties. First was his extremely low salary. Any teacher with 5 years of very successful teaching should be able to find a teaching position that paid much more than his current $7,200 per year. Teachers of math and science are usually in much more demand than those who teach sociology or Italian literature. Fred's second difficulty is that founding a university takes a lot more startup capital than, say, starting a home alarm system company. In the book Super Cool Businesses, Fred had seen a chapter on how to start a business that specialized in home alarms. It had talked about burglar alarms and fire alarms, and specialty alarms such as pendant alarms that old people could wear. If they fell down and couldn't get up, they could just press the alarm that they were wearing. There were kid alarms, so that if a kid was home alone and cut himself, he could signal for help. That apocryphal book was written in 1990 and seemed a bit out of date. Nowadays, old folks and kids can easily carry cell phones in their pockets, but cell phones aren't smart enough yet to detect a burglary in progress when the owners are away. Fred thought to himself, life is often so messy. First, I need my teaching job at Kittens in order to get some startup capital and learn about how a university works. Then I might have to start with an alarm system business because I can't earn or borrow enough money to found a university. The years are slipping by. Next year I'm going to be 7. No bank is going to lend me $120,000. Some banks won't even lend a nickel to a 6-year-old. Moments of despair are very common on the road to significant wealth. If Fred were to just continue teaching Kittens University until the age of 65, things for him would be a lot simpler. Most people take the simpler, easier way. That's why they are called the 99%. Many have money problems in the last 20 years of their lives and wish that they had done things differently. If starting an alarm company is what I have to do, Fred thought, then that is what I'll do. My real goal, where my heart lies, is in education. I am a teacher. Founding a university is the game I want to play. So Fred sat down and opened Wiring Home Alarm Systems. This was all new to Fred. The only thing he understood in the diagram was the burglar and the flower pot. Learning new stuff can take time, effort, pain, concentration, and sacrifice. Knowing what his ultimate goal was gave Fred an iron will.